Welcome back and thanks for stopping by. In this episode I'm going to be reviewing my top 5 albums in my collection that were released in 2024. So that makes these albums 20 years old. Hard to believe, but it's true. So before the year ended, I just wanted to run through these albums because I hadn't had a chance to review each of them this year. And I think it was important to just, remember that these albums were 20 years old in the year that they actually came out, and we're getting very close to the end of the year. So what better time to do it than now? So coming in at number 5, it's The Killer's Hot Fuss. So again, this album, not really a rock album, more a kind of synth rock or synth pop, 80s new wave kind of vibe from it. But when this album was released, it was absolutely huge. I remember I was in college at the time, and there were so many songs from this album were, hits and were on the radio. Jenny Was a Friend of Mine, Mr. Brightside, Smile Like You Mean It, Somebody Told Me, All the Things That I've Done, all great stuff there. And then, the album kind of takes a little dip there. But yeah, I have to say I did enjoy this album at the time, but probably hasn't aged very well. Hence the reason that it's coming in at number 5. So Killer's Hot Fuss. It's an interesting one. Okay, coming in at number 4, U2, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb. I wasn't a fan of this, to be honest, when it came out. I'm still not a fan of it now. I think it's got way too much filler. I've done a very detailed review of this album earlier this year, so go check that out if you're interested. But there's some good songs on this album. The production's quite good, but I have to say, it's not one of U2's strongest albums. I much prefer All That You Can't Leave Behind from that era of U2 that was released in the year 2000, and I think it's a much stronger album. So that's coming in at number 4. Coming in at number 3, it's Alter Bridge's debut album. Alter Bridge were basically the musicians from Creed with a singer called Miles Kennedy from the Mayfield 4, kind of like a super group, but they got together in, I think it was 2002, 2003, following the breakup of Creed. Of course, Mark Tremonti on guitars, Scott Phillips on bass, and Scott Phillips on drums and Brian Marshall on bass, apologies. And Mark plays all the guitars on this album. It's absolutely fantastic. Got so many brilliant songs: Find the Real, Open Your Eyes, Burn It Down, Metalingus, Broken Wing, and Love and Memory, Shed My Skin. Absolutely brilliant album. Again, another album these are all albums that I was listening to in college back in the day when I was in university. So yeah, absolutely top-notch stuff. I remember that album very well. Coming in at number 2, it's Velvet Revolver, and it's the album Contraband. So this was their debut album, released in 2004. Of course, for those that aren't aware, Velvet Revolver were a supergroup consisting of Scott Weiland from the Stone Temple Pilots, and then from Guns N' Roses we had, of course, Slash, Duff McKagan, and Matt Sorum. And then we had on rhythm and guitar Dave Kushner from a band called The Wasted Youth. And they basically put together this supergroup because, Guns N' Roses didn't seem to be going anywhere at that point in time. Duff, Matt and Slash had been out of the band for a number of years. Slash had done some solo stuff, and they just decided, look, we want to put together a band. They auditioned singers. Scott Weiland got the part, and they decided to put this band together. The debut album, this one, is absolutely stunning. Their second album, Libertad, released in 2007, was a complete flop in my opinion. It's a terrible album. I caught them on tour for that album. Luckily, they didn't play too many songs off it. And then shortly after I caught them on tour, the band had split up. And very, very sad ending there to what was a great supergroup. But yeah, I love this album, Velvet Revolver, Contraband. And coming in at number 1, my favourite album of 2004, that's turning 20 this year, it's got to be Green Day's American Idiot. I saw them on tour earlier this year. They performed the full album from start to finish, and it was absolutely amazing. I have to say, really, really enjoyed it. This is a brilliant album, a concept album. It's like a rock opera, and I believe the Green Day actually brought this to Broadway, and it was, there was a whole show around that, and that was amazing. A pity I missed that actually, but I think this is brilliant. Produced by Rob Cavallo again on Green Day, mixed by Chris Lord-Alge. So what more can we say than that? But that's my favourite album, Green Day, American Idiot, my favourite album of the year. of 2004, and absolutely brilliant, 20 years old. So I hope you enjoyed my ranking. Please let me know what your favourite albums of 2004 are in the comments below. If you could also subscribe, hit the like, hit the notification bell, and share this with anyone who may like it. I greatly appreciate it, and I will chat to you on the next video. Bye for now.